Hello, I'm Lapras, and welcome to Sonic 06. Today I'll be running Silver's story No Credits Warp, and I'm always happy and excited to share this category with anyone. Silver is normally a very slow-paced, puzzly kind of platformer compared to his other Hedgehog counterpart, Sonic and Shadow. But in this speedrun, he might be the fastest thing alive. Time starts in 3, 2, 1. So, Silver can do one of two things with objects. He can lift them from afar and then throw them, or you can use them to ride on as platforms. But recently, what if we... A couple years ago, we just said to ourselves, what if we did both at the same time? I'm going to stand at a steep angle, lift, and then throw. And now I've turned this rock into a rocket. We have completed about 2.5 to 3 minutes worth of casual gameplay in about 15 seconds. Now, since we're so fast, with just arbitrary objects that you can stand on in a steep incline due to telethrow, the trick I just showed off there, we can skip Blaze, which is introduced right here, but ignored by speedrunners most of the time. Because there's a rock here. Also, I did some levitation extensions. If you press X, the frame that you stop levitating, so you hold A to levitate, then the frame you stop holding A, you press X. You retain your levitation momentum, but start to fall, but also get your gauge back. Your action gauge back. That's why I was able to cross it, and all the gauge was kind of partially refilling. And wouldn't you know, a very conveniently placed rock wraps up Crisis City in under a minute.
I need to pull it together.
And we can play around on the result screen because of a couple conditions we met during the final section. That 1-up does count. You'll see me enter this next level, or boss, Iblis 1, with 6 lives instead of the usual 5. Now, the bosses are fairly straightforward. You have to kind of use Silver's only damaging technique, throwing objects, very particularly. I'm going to pay extra attention to what order I pick up these objects, because they are the order in which they are thrown, so they don't run into each other. And against this guy in particular, I'm going to stagger my throws so that when the rocks explode, they don't explode the other rocks. Here I'm going to attempt bonus cycle, which is a strat that lets you hit him 3 times earlier than you're going to be able to normally. You got 2 hits there, you didn't get all 3. I'm going to try and rotate these things around so they don't run into each other. That's pretty good, 4D28. And that's Iblis 1. That fight can go very wrong if you run out of ammo, but it is a very scripted fight.
Perfect.
Fortunately, we got the fight done. We got our 45 or below. We're good. So now, you'll notice a jarring change of scenery. You're going to be transported into the Soliana Forest after we get yoinked into the present by somebody who tells us Sonic ruined everything. Oh no. Gotta find this guy. Where do we look? I don't know. The jungle? So let's go to the jungle.
The Iblis trigger. Where is he?
Let me see
First, I need
Silver's
to get
wonderful
information.
jog speed. But thankfully, there's a rock here. I'm gonna stop this to reposition myself in order to get the angle I want. And we're in the jungle. Now, so far I've only really seen rocks and slash or pieces of building. I don't know.
It looks like this load is
There might be a
jump.
bit of building
Based on
inside the
how I
rock,
charge my
who knows?
psychokinesis.
But any object really is fair game if you can tilt it.
Looks like
So
I
I'm
can use
looking
this to go up.
up to try and reduce lag. Thankfully, the edge of that explosive box, if you just lift it forward, tilts just enough so we can walk back and
Looks
teleport
like
on
I'm
it to
on a
the
roll.
end of the level. You're probably beginning to notice a pattern here. We do ignore a vast majority of 06's level design with silver. I'm going to be holding X during this cutscene so that when I enter the level on the first frame, I'm going to do a Fire Claw, blazes equivalent to a homing attack, which will
Iblis trigger. A blue
break me
red
out
dot.
of the automation that would normally just send me to the loop at the start of the level. This lets me do a loop launch. What loop launches are is when you target something, you accelerate until you get to your destination. Loops can be targeted in the 360 version of the game,
Darn.
and so when the terrain of the loop pushes you out of your way of the intended target, you just accelerate until you hit out of bounds or a wall. In this case, the wall saved us about 45 seconds. Unfortunately, this is one of 2 times we ever see Blaze in the speedrun.
Can't complain.
Next is in White Acropolis, but that's not for a bit. But yes, coming up, we have to save the mayor. We have to gain access to the desert. Normally, in any percent, you would actually credits work here through something known as mission select glitch. However, this is no credits work, so we're not going to be doing that. It just gives you an idea of how short, amazingly short, people have made Silver's category. Shoutouts to Darkspine Sonic for finding MSG
Maybe I'll talk to some
and
people
making
in
the
the
credits
town.
work possible. But here we do a tinier sequence break. We are supposed to complete mission 8, which is we save the mayor from a bunch of robots, but instead we use something called the lift exploit to shove us through a ceiling. And we can just touch the Dusty Desert portal that will send us there, regardless of whether we've completed the mission or not. It's active. Now, Dusty Desert is a level that's very indoors and very infamous for being casually obnoxious. We got the
Just
fall
you
puzzles,
wait, Iblis trigger.
we got the Amy part, which she is even slower than Silver for some reason. Don't worry, we see Amy later. Let's go for second cycle here. We're gonna use the lift exploit to get us out of bounds. But what about this putt? Well, these sand waves are nice. We can push the putt out of bounds as long as we're holding it. Get all nice and aligned here. And that's it. No ball puzzles, no aiming, no annoying sand wave rooms. Just one bit of ancient ceramic, start to finish.
Perfect.
That towel throw would also not be possible without Darkspine Sonic. We were struggling on how to make Dusty Desert faster when we first found Telethrow on accident. Shout outs to Focus Site for also discovering that and developing most of the Telethrows you see here. This category would be much longer, about 5 minutes longer. You compare record to record if it were not for him. So now we fight Sonic, and it's much the same deal as the first boss. You throw things at him. You don't have a limit. You have a bunch of furniture. But you don't quite want to hurt him too fast. So what I did was deliberately slow myself down in order to get something 13 seconds or above, so I get an A rank. Now, when you S rank a stage, which is usually unavoidable with Silver because you go so fast, you get 2 gold medals. But if you A rank, you only get 1. So unless you can do the boss within about 6 seconds, it will save time if you just wait till about 13 overall. And now we do Shock Bracelet Skip. Shock Bracelet Skip, I ain't got nothing for how it works. But we skip Shock Bracelet, although it's a very casually useful upgrade in the form of an area of effect stun that just allows you to pick up any enemy that is unprotected and just throw it anywhere, putting it at other enemies. Usually you have a very small radius stun slap, but that isn't enough to hit all 4 switches there. But this sign can get us places. So we rotate it, place it down, we walk through the wall. You know, business as usual. Don't ask me how I did that. Because I don't know either. That is also a fairly recent development. That method of Shock Bracelet Skip. Jump over the lasers with a box as well. You can make yourself gain massive height and just fall through the roof. There's so many ways to skip the upgrade, and it actually is detrimental due to a trick known as the SETD, or Super Extended Teleport Dash, that we see later. You ever see the last bit of Blaze, unfortunately. Very straightforward platforming. I'm going to try and stay on this left side, as it actually will lead me to a bonus set of dash panels that you wouldn't know were there. Let us play the game before. Weird. Then we're gonna get all these crabs and open the door. Actually, Blaze, we don't need to defeat all the enemies, but I included you. Ow. Sometimes there's always one left over. So when Telefro was first discovered, this was one of the first targets right across list.
To Eggman's face.
Right across list used to be a very slow walkathon of a level. And you can just see how much terrain we cover. I'm gonna turn a bit. Almost ran out of action gauge there. Have to link these guys around. That is required combat in the few instances we see here. Okay, good enough. That was a bit sketchy with that final ball rock, but
That was easy.
we're fine. We didn't have to walk across the frozen tundra. We just kind of flew instead. Now, coming up is the third of 5 boss fights in the game, Egg Genesis. Silver can only hold 20 objects at a time. Egg Genesis has 24 HP.
A guard, huh? Just try and stop me.
So we're going to pick up as much as we can now. Try and target the center too.
Let's finish this.
Let's see. 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna need to do 2 more.
They're locked onto you. Shake them off.
Oh no, that's bad. Went off, but at least he didn't lower, so that's a pretty okay fight.
Silver, watch it. He's coming in.
Also, no matter what, a Genesis cannot self-destruct and make you redo the fight. They just kind of self-destructs for
Perfect.
theatrical reasons, I suppose. And now we have Amy. If we could skip this mission by any means possible, we would, and no credits for it. Unfortunately, the game is literally coded so that we cannot progress without clearing this mission. Without just jumping straight to the end. So, gotta grin and bear it. Just keep in mind that I am moving as fast as I can, and as soon as I can every time I attack. I swear.
We came all the way here and the town's
Seems like a good place to be the donation. Nothing particularly exciting going on here. You can... Something I do want to know is you can double hit enemies that have more than 1 health as Amy. You're going to see that again at the very end of the mission.
Are you kidding me?
And we're done. We never see Amy again.
Just perfect.
Thank goodness. The silver is a lot more exciting. Though the object stuff is nuts. He gets a very pivotal upgrade. It's called the Heart of Wind. It gives you a very stubby, but very fast while active teleport dash. Now we can make it unstubby by holding our stun slap or the X button on the very last frame of that teleport dash for as long as we hold the X button. So, to put it into perspective, Silver jogs at 9 speed while grounded. Sonic spin dashes at about 30. He homing attacks at about 40 initially. And light dashes send you at about 50. As both Sonic and Shadow. This is just an on-demand, perpetual. I think it's 37. And so, the directive we are given is to sneak into the station as well. We're gonna go around a mission trigger. I would say we lose a lot of time if we try to complete it by clipping out of bounds. Anywhere there's a corner and you can generate sufficient speed like you can with an ETD or an extended teleport dash like I did there, you can clip.
I'm not going to let the Iblis trigger get away.
So we've seen ancient ceramic, future boulders. How about a shovel? And we can easily off those. Now, it is worth noting that ETDs are frame perfect.
That was easy.
As described before. If I miss one, I lose a second to not missing it. At least. But this is what makes Silver fun. You can just zoop around. It's quite satisfying. Unlike this next boss, versus Shadow. Shadow, against Sonic, you had plenty of objects to work with. I don't think we even used half to complete that boss. This, you need pretty much all of these to hit. They are very prone to not hitting, because they are so big. He's at about half health, so he should power up, giving me a little more time to set up. That was close. Okay. Not too shabby.
Perfect.
We did have to backtrack for a couple barrels to respawn, but that didn't go as bad as humanly possible. I'd say that's a success. There are some weird things that can happen during Shadow. Like he can be lifted off by one of the barrels to the other side of the train, and he doesn't know how to jump over the train. You just have to restart the fight. It's a whole mess. Coming up to one of my favorite levels, Aquatic Base, because instead of taking the front door and playing as Shadow for a little bit, we take the back door. Well, there is no door, but there is a corner, so we can look through it with our trusty tool,
Those enemies
ETD.
look like they're guarding that door. Let's start by getting rid of them.
And unlike Silver's instructional prompt, we do not get of anyone ready to open the door, because the door does not need to be open for us to access it. This is a level without any telethrows. This is what back half silver looks like. It's really cool. Trying to click through here. You may see me running up along the ground a little bit. That is a teleslide.
Was this underwater?
If I cancel a teleport dash, which is normally supposed to be slightly airborne, fast enough, if I will hit the ground first, and I will transfer all of my ground momentum, my airborne momentum, into grounded momentum, provided I don't hold anything on the control surface. Unfortunately, we have to do this with quiet combat. Did you guys notice? That's good. That's aquatic base.
Perfect!
Coming up, we have the donation prime time. Mission 14. We have to escort Anna to the other side of Ciliana Castle Town. Because she knows the secret. What's the secret? I don't know. But she's getting hunted down by Eggman robots. So let's try and keep her safe. You know? It's the least we could do. The secret is that you need to do the trials to access Kingdom Valley. Sorry. Sorry for the spoiler. And we do the trials.
I'm going to stop Dr. Eggman no matter what.
Hey.
This is also the part of the plot where Silver realizes Sonic is not quite the problem.
Hey.
So, after a brief A, we have to guard Anna with our lives. But sometimes, to solve the problems, you just have to walk away from them for a bit. That's what Silver does. Because the enemies, which normally stop her if she's within proximity of them, don't exist if Silver's not there or close enough. So we just walk away. But sometimes they can make Anna move a teeny bit faster than spurts. I'm gonna spawn a robot behind her right now. Ooh. Ooh. Booga booga. Whatever scary noise you like. Of course, there's an invisible wall here, but that makes a corner with the actual wall there. The one SSG could get us through. Sometimes it does that, it's very strange. And you should be done in a minute 26, minute 27. Oh, done in a minute 27. Cool. So, because Anna has no obstructions, that strategy is actually optimal.
Great!
And we get out of there in a minute and 27 seconds.
That was easy.
Now, for those who remember this run in a past GDQ or some such, you may remember something which is incredibly impressive, but also hard, called Trial Skip. Trial Skip would skip all three of these next three side quests we have to do in the forest, missions 16 through 18. However, we switched timing methods not too long ago, so now loads which would vary within a range of 3 minutes over a single run of Sonic Story with identical gameplay and identical hardware are no longer a barrier to entry for competition. But by consequence, that means all the load screens trial skipped are no longer timed. Making this a little faster.
Hey.
And so we approach the first trial. They're referred to as trials, but each mission name says test. But for
Hey.
Sonic, they say trial. I don't know. You have to defeat all the enemies to open the cage with Blaze in it. I don't know how they got Blaze in there. But we can, create a corner. And clip through it. And the clear requirement is actually you make physical contact with Blaze, so we can just do that.
Hey.
Looks like I'm on a roll.
Now this next mission, mission 17, is a multiple choice word association game where we already know the answers. So we just go in the right portal twice and then the left portal. Then
Hey.
come out the other side with the correct answers. You have to talk to the NPC to get the word association part, but
Hey.
it is worth noting that these load screens are what made Trial skip fast. And it is an incredibly impressive trick. But we are here to Portal. They could have just reused the same area for all three portals, but no, they put a loading screen between each one. I don't know why. Because all of these locations are actually within the same hub area.
Hey.
Why they did it like this, I don't know.
Perfect.
Portals. Alright. Now for something I consider to be pretty interesting. Mission 18. Which is a combat mission. Just destroy all the enemies. The twist here
Hey.
is that you don't have any objects to just naturally pick up and throw at them. So you have to use any ammunition they fire at you back at them. Or stun them, but
Hey.
since we skipped the shock bracelet, deeply inadvisable because in most situations. Because Silver has twigs for arms. Sorry, Pam, your arms are really short and they just do not do it. However, this thing, whatever we got going on here, see. The yellow robot beats the green ones, so the yellow robot, the other three, like other green ones I've dealt with. Destroy those hornets from a distance just to keep them from summoning more. This guy. Beautiful. Beautiful sub 50. And that's all 3 trials. Now we come to the part of the run that ends a lot of them. But ultimately, I think looks really cool. First up is Kingdom Valley. Kingdom Valley has a trick that has stood the test of time that isn't telethrow. They use nowhere else in the run. And that's a telelaunch. The abridged version of the explanation is you pick up a rock, you throw it, and then while it's being thrown, you lift it to take all that thrown momentum and shove it straight upwards. So since this first half of Kingdom Valley is a giant U shape, we're just going to go from one tip of the U to the other, the short way.
Darn it! I should have realized Eggman's scheme.
We didn't hit the SCPD off of it, that's fine. Yeah, bunches of levitation extensions. Make it over these suspiciously tall invisible kill planes and into the loading trigger right around here-ish. And now we come to the most recent trick we found. Or rather, the most recent trick we made consistent. It was theorized since the discovery of telethrow that you could skip playing as Sonic, which would normally happen if you defeated those enemies over there. And finally, not too long ago, Reverie, shoutouts, came up with a setup for a telethrow that was able to scale this wall, which is invisible, and the next one. And that castle right there is the end of the level. Okay, we missed another one, but you can definitely make it. The power of our trusty LE. Okay. We're out. Goodbye.
Looks like I'm on a roll.
That was very close, but we made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. And now for Flamecore. Flamecore says, okay, what if we took everything you just did in the entire run and then threw it at you all at once and put it on fire? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds fitting for a final level. So let's do it.
I'm coming, Iblis.
So we're going to do one last telethrow. We're going to balance this box on this item capsule stub. Yeah, up and over this ledge.
Out of my way.
And hang a left. Telethrow all the way. Then we take a quick drop off over here. And instead of dealing with the only door we can't put through in the game is any hedgehog. You just go around it. I have to take this back into the spring. Make this jump. You don't need to open the cage. And although we got hit by an RNG meteor, it didn't quite matter because we took damage in the air. And that is a whole 2 seconds faster than taking damage on the ground. And we're going to abuse that here in this second half of Flame Core. We're going to use this generous...
What is that thing?
4 seconds of invulnerability to our advantage all block. I'm going to focus for a little bit. Give you the optimum moving experience. But Silver's really cool movement, and it's full glory. Now with this final bit, I want either 3, 5, or 6 rings entering this final room through that door.
What is that ball of flame? Is that the power of Iblis?
So we're gonna hover all the way out here, and we're gonna do what we said earlier. We're gonna take damage while airborne from this shockwave. We're gonna pick up a ring while we fall. That's why we want a specific number of rings. I'm gonna pause before Palisade,
Now all I have
just to make double sure we get to that door. And we're out. Instead of doing this giant sequence of climbing up platforms and waiting for shockwaves, all we did is wait for one and then clip through the door that occurs after you disassemble the large Cocoa Puff in the middle of that final room. Now, we approach the final boss. This little guy, this big old guy is RNG. But you get tiers of RNG. You have to throw all these Cocoa Puffs at him that are on the battlefield, as well as some that come from volleys, 1 of 2 volleys that he throws at you. If you get 3 or more from luck, you get average RNG. You get a 220.
It looks like he's getting closer to his final form. You'll be in trouble if you let him get close. Try to keep him away from here.
We have 2 so far. If we only hit 2, that'll lose 50 seconds to get us a 310. If we happen to hit 6 more, though, never mind. We did get worse RNG. These puffs have a habit of exploding on themselves. But that is okay. Actually, looking at his health, he might have a 220. But this is just the waiting game from here on out. Just stand in the dead zone. Stretch your shoulders a little bit. Straighten your gloves, you know. We're gonna move back to the middle because he's going to do a big slam that takes out a chunk of the platform. You can't see it, but the chunk of the platform was taken out.
Just a little more. I will end
We're gonna catch this puff that is supposed to land on the battlefield, but isn't. And we'll know if this is a 220 or not if this final attack from us finishes. And time stops in ideally about 13 seconds.
Here it comes, Silver.
When this final attack connects. Provided it goes. Nope, we were one hit off. So now we gotta wait through another batch of wave cycles. Bop him on the head once more. I would like to thank everyone that taught me this run, everyone I've had to teach this run, the entire OC community at large. Shoutouts to Nick, shoutouts to Focus, shoutouts to other active runners in the community that are newer, like Rev, shoutouts to Club. Shoutouts to everyone that's been here running this game. It's a really cool game, both past and present. Y'all are awesome. That's nice. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you at wherever this may end up. That's the game.